there are thousands of projects, and I think you guys through your podcast have been doing an amazing job into keeping up to date with the releases, and you are collectors as well, so you are very familiar with everything in a high scale, like all the projects that are on the platform. So I think it would be very beneficial for us to talk a little bit about that, right? Like, what are the projects that there are like very popular, and there are projects that maybe aren't as popular, but there are maybe some hidden gems there. Um, so I was thinking that a good place to start would be into the popular collections, right? What some people call the blue chips, and these days might be a good time, to look at those. And I wonder, from your perspective, uh, from the blue chips projects, I don't really like that name, but for those, which ones are you particularly interested in these days in terms of the market, but also the ones that you actually like and appreciate a lot just from an artistic point of view?
Trinity, any place you want to start? Or should we talk about the
I mean,
methodology kind of first of like how we're approaching this?
yeah, we can definitely do that. And, I think the first part is that, over the last year or so, we've been tracking an index of projects. It's not necessarily the most expensive projects, but I think they're the most exciting projects. But they aren't all necessarily blue chips. But, we are over time, it used to be every week. And then as the market slowed, we went down to every month, and now a little bit checking in every quarter. Obviously, Will did another special rundown just in preparation for this to kind of see how things have been shaking out. But we always track, what is the floor price? And again, floor is not the resistance. Floor can always go lower, especially in a market like this where you're not seeing as many sales. We always track not just the price in TES, but also the price in USD, because crypto is, it's a fluctuating thing in and of itself. And so we see a lot of repricing that may or may not occur as the price of TES changes. And it can sometimes change quite dramatically, especially in the last year or so, where, we can drop 40% overnight. So it could be a great time to get deals. But things have been pretty steady in the last couple of months, for better or for worse.
Yeah, and I'll add the caveat that, though we're tracking this, we don't have perfect analytic systems and things. We don't have our own custom API that's like reading the blockchain. So these are our best estimations based on the information that we can find through Fxhash. So if anything, some of the numbers that we're going to present are probably like under, kind of like under it. Like, I don't know the perfect top for each project, but we can kind of look historically and try to guess where they were. So I'm sure anyone who's got better data skills could come up with a more perfect version of this list, but I think we're going to be within plus or minus 5% in everything that we talk about. I feel good about that, at least. So, cool. I mean, should we start with the obvious one, like Zancan, do you think, Trinity?
I mean, obviously, I think it's the project that has the highest floor on Fxhash. It is the number one most traded project on the platform so far. If you look at the annual sales data or the all-time sales data, Garden Monoliths is number one. It's the top. It is the highest. And it speaks to that really in the floor price as well, which is currently 11,500 TES, which, in ETH terms, it's not a fidenza, but it is the fidenza that we have.
Yep. That is around 9,000 USD right now. So as we're recording it, TES just dipped down to 79 cents. And so that's probably about what, a little over 4 ETH or so. So that's kind of to give you a sense, if you're an ETH collector, that's like the high watermark for what you might pay for a generative art piece in Fxhash. There's plenty that are going to be much, much, much lower than that.
Yeah, and just to add to that, and I mean the floor on the monoliths, $9,000. It used to be way over 15,000, right, and way over 20,000 for a long, long time, right? So we could say that it's the cheapest it's been since it's released. Am I right? I think it's the cheapest.
Probably close to that, I would say. I mean, obviously the first month or two it wasn't that expensive, but yes, go ahead, Trinity.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. You know, for the first month or so, also obviously the price of Tez was much higher. Garden Monoliths came out in December of 2021, which is obviously a great time for crypto. Tez was probably around $5, obviously compared to 79 cents now. And it took a while to grow, but as the space got bigger and bigger, I think especially moving into January, February of 2022, it just kind of took off like a rocket ship. It became the piece to have. And because it is such a great example of how crazy code-based art can be. For people who haven't seen Garden Monoliths or aren't familiar with the work of Zancan, it's, you know, these crazy like landscape scenes that are like trees, it's flowers, it's grass, and it's just so unique. He has such a special style that's unique to him. You don't really see anybody else able to do anything. He has a custom JavaScript library called grass.js
Yeah.
that really feeds into all of his work, and so he's doing something special and something unique. And this is his first, like, as far as I can tell, it's his first long form generative art project. And so there's a special like provenance there, of him doing this on Fxhash.